Let's have a look at the contenders for the club's title, which is about to begin in Baku.
Hörmətli tamaşaçılar, siz də hazırsınızsa bir alqışlarınızla bunu eşidək. Fərdi gimnastların güclərlə final çıxışlarını izləyəcəyik.
Dear friends, we continue with class final of individual gymnasts.
Finalçıları qarşılayın.
Please welcome the finalists. Varfolomeev Daria, Germany. Onofriichuk Taisiia, Ukraine. Dragas, Italy. Nikolova Stiliana, Bulgaria. Keys, Rin, USA. Tal Franco, Alona, Israel. Raffaeli, Sofia, Italy. Tugolukova, Vera, Cyprus. Good luck to all gymnasts.
There they are, the finalists in the club's competition. And the action will start in just a moment or two. The finalists in the club's competition in Baku. Top performer in the preliminary round, Daria Varfolomeev of Germany, who first threw herself into the name, or the list of names, to be a real contender for world and Olympic glory when she won the club's title at the 2022 World Championships. Lovely reception for the young performers who are entertaining the crowd before the final start and in the gaps for judging during the routines.
Daria, Germany.
It's time to begin the club's competition, and a great place to start with a gymnast who won the world title in 2022 and then won it again in 2023. Here is the reigning Olympic champion, the top qualifier, a gymnast whose performances with this apparatus have been so strong over the years. It is, of course, Daria Varfolomeev.
That shit crazy.
That's it, yeah, you're crazy. That's it, yeah, you're crazy. That's it, yeah, you're crazy.
Over.
Fascinating start to this club's final, coming courtesy of Daria Varfolomeev. The gymnast who began her season in the Italian Serie A in late February. She said that she was so thrilled to see a huge number of fans at the conclusion of the Bundesliga campaign at the end of last year. The increased interest in the sport that has naturally come from her securing of the Olympic title. There's a lot of complexity in this routine. The difficulty is strong. Really rotates around with such poise in those fouette turns with the fully extended leg at horizontal. A lot of really secure catches with good judgment shown of the trajectory. The qualification score 30.35, which was by close to a mark and a half the best of anyone in the club's competition. I mean, how spot on she was there with her movement. It is 30.45, an improvement of 1/10 from qualifying. She's gained 2/10 of difficulty. Execution and artistry dropping by 500ths of a mark. Very good score that, and it's going to be hard to beat. Really nice to see that sort of performance from Varfolomeev on her return to World Cup rhythmic gymnastics. Now to the champion with the clubs in Sofia at the first World Cup of the season. Taisiia Onofriichuk, who scored 28.9 in the preliminary round.
Go for yours on my command. Now hit the dance floor. It's gonna make you sweat till you bleed. Is that dope enough? Indeed, I paid the price to control the dice. I'm more precise. To the point, I'm nice. The music takes control. Your heart and soul unfold. Your body is free and behold. Ooh.
There's real amplitude in that final throw. And there's such intensity to the performance, as ever, from Taisiia Onofriichuk, who shows her ability to do that which is very bold, that which is sensitive, that which is frivolous, that which is serious. It's nice to see the variety in this young athlete. She was the silver medalist, after all, with the clubs at the Junior World Championships in 2023. Judge that catch well. Plenty of rotations, plenty of precision in the fouettes. Doesn't deviate a great deal from the base position of the standing leg. And then into the side scale. Very hard to keep gravity on your side there. It's 28.95, and that is virtually the same as qualifying. She's gone up by 500. She's into the silver medal position. Another really tidy display from Onofriichuk. Now, our first opportunity to see this gymnast in today's finals. Daria Dragas from Italy. 5th in qualifying with 27.55. She's been a European Championship team medalist. Italy's Daria Dragas from San Daniele del Friuli, near the border with Slovenia, very close to the iconic settlement of Trieste. She's yet to compete at World Championship level, but as I mentioned earlier, she's been on a European podium, looking for her first World Cup honours. Some nice skill selection in this performance from Daria Dragas, and things that we haven't seen yet in our coverage today.
What color is the sky? I'm mi amor, I'm mi amor. You tell me that it's red. I'm mi amor, I'm mi amor. Where should I put my shoes? I'm mi amor, I'm mi amor. You say put them on your head. I'm mi amor, I'm mi amor. You make me un poco loco, un poquitito loco.
A gymnast that we may well see a lot more of as the season goes on. Performing the penché turns quite neatly. She also used the classical attitude derrière pirouettes, and that I think is the first time we've seen them in our coverage today. Good management of the chaîné turns as well. Did have some pronounced execution issues. And yes, her execution score 7.3. So the score 26.8. To Stiliana Nikolova of Bulgaria. 7th best in qualification, and she was indeed 7th with the clubs in Sofia. did win the silver medal at the World Championships in 2022. It's a really interesting routine, that. The stylistic departure from that which she has done before has continued apace with her club's composition. And there's some very appropriate movement in there. Some moments that just fit wonderfully with the orchestration. It's also got a playfulness to it, a sense of frivolity in places, and yet also deeply serious at other times. So it's a nice blend. And it does showcase her extreme physicality as a gymnast, her power. Really rapid chaîné turns. Has to make a little adjustment to come back in contact with the clubs there, but it's not huge by any stretch of the imagination. Pretty tidy penchés.
Tick, tick, boom.
She had a moment where the stability did go as she was exiting one of her turns, but 29.1 puts her into the silver medal position. The execution score is 8, so it's up by quite some way from qualification. And a good artistry score for that display too. Rin Keys from the United States of America. It's always so exciting to see a young gymnast as they begin their real rise as a senior. And goodness me, we're enjoying it with Rin Keys of the USA. She was 6th with the clubs in Sofia, just as she was with the ball, where she memorably won that ribbon bronze medal. She's a gymnast of real technical proficiency. Good catch there, quite unsighted. She turns with good control demonstrated. Nice height, bringing the legs up to a horizontal position. She's a gymnast that one expects to really become a fixture in international finals as this season goes on, as we move towards what of course is a home Olympiad for her potentially, and certainly something that she is very clearly aiming for. The big breakthrough for her was with the clubs at the Pan American Championships last year. She scores 26.5 here, which is a drop of 1.2 from qualification.
Tal Franco, Alona Israel.
Mainly there are a fair amount of difficulty sacrificed. Now representing Israel, Alona Tal Franco, who was the 6th best in qualification with 27.35.
Ahlan wa sahlan, welcome to the balagan that we call the Middle East. יש הכל, רק תבחר מה לאכול ותזהר שלא תקבל פה ביס.
יא חביב אלבי, love is a very big deal. מאוד גדול. בטח שהערב מתחיל. רגע, מה? איך אני אוהב את הצליל, שהלב שלי עושה ברגיל.
יא חביב, say you love me like we do in תל אביב. יא חביב, אלבי, אלבי, אלבי, אלבי, אלבי.
יא חביב,
אלבי, אלבי, אלבי, אלבי, אלבי.
תל אביב.
אלבי, אלבי, אלבי, אלבי, אלבי.
יא חביב,
אלבי, אלבי, אלבי, אלבי. Like we do in תל אביב. Like we do in תל אביב. Like we do in תל אביב. יא חביב.
She is from Tel Aviv, Alona Tal Franco. And she is a gymnast who has been having really very good success as a junior. Now the move into senior as she is at her debut FIG World Cup. Lots of new orchestration this season. That song by Static and Ben El and Nasrin Kadri. Sometimes there was a loss of her precision, particularly in some of the turns near the end. Other times there was a real sense of technical clarity from this young gymnast who's still only just 16. What she did do was perform the whole thing with effervescence that matched the musical choice. Difficult skill there. You really have to take your eye completely off the apparatus and bring it under control with the feet. At the end there was a sequence of chaîné turns that didn't seem to maintain really precise balletic form. .26.1 is the score for Alona Tal Franco, and indeed the execution is 7.1. It is the lowest execution score we've seen so far. But a lot about that that's going to be very successful as it becomes a more polished routine. Next to Sofia Raffaeli, third best in qualifying with a score of 28.55, but that would put her in fourth position based on the way this final has developed. There's some very complicated gymnastics going on in that routine. Some risky rebounds with the apparatus from Sofia Raffaeli, the bronze medalist at the Olympic Games in Paris, the first individual Italian rhythmic gymnastics Olympic medal, no less. Powerful in those penchés. That is so ripe for catastrophe. It's really managed well, that little rebound. It would take just a minor deviation of the correct position for that club to just hurtle off in the wrong direction. So she makes light of it, as she's done throughout her career, making real complexity look simple. There's another example of how she makes complexity look simple with the leg bend as she spins round. Keeping firm sight of the apparatus in the chaîné turns. Briefly working into the attitude derrière position. .28.85 is good enough for fourth position and only 1/10 away from making it onto the podium. She does improve from qualification, but not quite enough. 12.9 difficulty, up 3/10 from the preliminary stage. Now to the gymnast who has won her first World Cup gold medal here in Baku. Vera Tugolukova now performing with the clubs. She made the Junior World Championship final with this apparatus.
Não deixe o samba acabar. O morro foi feito de samba pra gente sambar.
She really is having such a successful World Cup competition here in Baku. Vera Tugolukova. Obviously, that is orchestration that is designed to play well at the World Championships, which will be taking place in, guess where, Rio de Janeiro in August.
Let's get
Does keep pretty good form in her chaîné turns.
Let's get loud. Turn the music up, let's do it. Come on, people, let's get loud.
Really a gymnast who, at 16, is still in the early stages of a senior career that is developing most impressively. And she performs this with an obvious enjoyment of the musicality of it, with a desire to actually get some proper samba steps in there. Does powerfully hit releve, doesn't she? 28.7, that's a good improvement from qualification, a really good improvement actually. She's up by a mark and a half, so another strong display in this final. And it brings to a close the club's competition. The classified results in the club's final in Baku. Bronze won by Taisiia Onofriichuk of Ukraine, silver by Stiliana Nikolova of Bulgaria, and the gold medal goes to Germany's Daria Varfolomeev. Great result for Varfolomeev in her first World Cup since the Olympiad. Next, we'll go to the last of the individual finals, the ribbon competition.
Aziz dostlar, yarışlarımıza fərdi gimnastların lente final çıxışları ilə davam edirik.
Dear friends, we continue with ribbons final of individual gymnasts.
Finalçıları qarşılayın.
Please welcome the finalists.
The last individual final at the World Cup of Rhythmic Gymnastics in Baku. It is, of course, the ribbon competition.
Pusch, Lada, Germany. Salos, Anastasiia, AIN. Onofriichuk, Taisiia, Ukraine. Raffaeli, Sofia, Italy. Nikolova, Stiliana, Bulgaria. Harnasko, Alina, AIN. Varfolomeev, Daria, Germany. Dragas, Italy. Good luck to all gymnasts.
So there they are, the finalists in the ribbon competition. We have so many really decorated competitors.
Qarşılayın. Aydan Guleva, Respublika Kompleksi İdman Məktəbi.
We've got the last 3 champions of the world. The finalists in the ribbon competition at the Baku World Cup. The top performer in qualification was Taisiia Onofriichuk, and she won the gold medal with the ribbon in Sofia. Amazing. If she could hold on here, then she will actually manage to beat the 2023 world champion, Daria Varfolomeev, the 2022 world champion, Sofia Raffaeli, and the 2021 world champion, Alina Harnasko.
Break my heart if you wanna. How I miss you, the bliss is so hard to resist. I'm returning mañana.
The ribbon final will begin with a young gymnast, a 17-year-old who won a silver medal with the ball at the Junior World Championships in Cluj-Napoca a couple of years ago. Sofia is getting ready to host the next edition of the Junior World Championships, taking place in a couple of months' time. So many gymnasts entered this competition. It's nice that they get the opportunity to actually sit and enjoy watching the finals, because at heart, before being elite competitors, they are fans of the sport more than anything else. And they love sitting down and watching rhythmic gymnastics as much as the rest of us do.
Please welcome Pusch, Lada, Germany.
It's a brilliant accomplishment just to make it into this ribbon final. There were 65 that entered. So to place in the top 8, job brilliantly done. This is Lada Pusch from Germany, 6th in qualification with a score of 27.25.
we paint the town. And all that jazz, I'm gonna rouge my knees and roll my stockings down. And all that jazz, start the car. I know a whoopee spot where the gin is cold, but the piano's hot. It's just a noisy hall where there's a nightly brawl. And all that jazz. That jazz.
Performing to All That Jazz from the 1975 musical Chicago, Lada Pusch. It's one of the most well-known songs in all of musical theatre. So bound up as well in the wonderful work of the iconic Bob Fosse. She's got some nice features to her work, particularly towards the end. A very precise sequence of turns. Did have some little tangles with the ribbon that had to be navigated, but she scored 27.25 in qualification.
And the heat is intense, it's barbaric, but hey, it's home. When the winds from
It was fast, it was energetic, it fitted the tempo of the music. Difficulty-wise, we expect it to be surpassed later on. She does have features like the strong back bend in the leaps, which will only help the difficulty score, and the decision to bend the leg there as she spins inside scale. It's very close to qualification, 26.8.
Please welcome Salos Anastasiia AIN.
She has lost a little of her difficulty, about half a mark of it. Everything else is pretty well where it was before. Now to a gymnast who has returned to a World Cup podium in Baku, Anastasiia Salos. 8th best in qualification. Her score was 26.95. It's a very nice choice of music, and it's the sort of music that she performs very well to. A sensitive gymnast, a very expressive one, and one who has a great deal of fluidity to her work. She's been 3 times on a World Championship podium. She has also achieved 5 successes at European Championship level. There was a moment quite early on in the routine where the forward rolls, the risk elements, just seemed to be a little frantic, as though she was really working to make up ground. But she did cover it, showing a lot of experience in how she handled that. At times, some very crisp patterns with the ribbon. No great surprise that that leads 27.4, so she has gained almost half a mark from qualification, as Pusch lost around the same amount. Now we go to a gymnast who has been performing spectacularly this season, especially with this apparatus. She won the gold medal in Sofia. She was the top qualifier for this final with 28.4. It is, of course, Taisiia Onofriichuk, with really the routine that made her so famous last season.
It's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. He traveled all around the world, and everywhere he went, he'd use his word and all would say, there goes a clever gent.
When Dukes and Martha Rogers pass a time of day with me, I say me special word and then they ask me out to tea.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Because I was afraid to speak when I was just a lad. My father gave me nails a tweak and told me I was bad. But then one day I learned a word to save me aching nose.
The biggest word you've ever heard, and this is how it goes. Oh, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious.
For example?
Yes?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Greeted with enormous enthusiasm, that by the crowd and by the gymnasts especially watching in Baku. She's becoming an absolute favourite. Yeah, there we go. There's the evidence of it. Screaming their love for Taisiia Onofriichuk, and they're right to appreciate her. She's becoming something of a gymnast. She again transforms into a style of performance that suits this orchestration. It has to be extremely vivacious to work with music that otherwise would overpower. Secondly, didn't have the sort of height of the first and the third, but she did brilliantly to get it back. Real stability demonstrated in her fouettes, and some nice pattern work with the ribbon too. Important to keep the cleanliness with the apparatus as well as the cleanliness with the body difficulty. The ribbon must never lose its kineticism. It mustn't have a sort of static or loose feel to it. It surely will lead based on what we've seen. Lovely patterns there again. Yes, it does lead. 28.2. She's 8/10 in the gold medal position over Anastasiia Salos. We've still got quite a way to go in this final, but a very good case made by Onofriichuk for another ribbon title. So, this is all very interesting because the young Ukrainian has put the marker down with 28.2. And now we are going to get 3 world champions with the ribbon. The last 3 world champions all trying to beat it. We start with Sofia Raffaeli, the world champion from 2022, who scored 27.5 in qualifying.
His eyes upon my face, his hand upon my hand, his lips caress my skin. It's more than I can
Sofia Raffaeli, the champion with the ribbon in 2022 in Sofia. A year later, she became the first rhythmic gymnast ever to win the Best Female Athlete of the Year award at the Gazeta Sports Awards ceremony. Now, how is this going to compare to the 28.2 that we saw from Taisiia Onofriichuk? The use of El Tango de Roxanne. Not for the first time in this ribbon final. Musical theatre orchestration. We've had quite a bit of it. Where the difficulty score will sit here is going to be interesting because it was an 11.8 in the preliminary stage. Onofriichuk is on 12.4. But we all know that Sofia Raffaeli is capable of packing high degrees of difficulty into every routine. It has got some nice little tango elements to it. Keeps the trunk quite upright in the leap. Long calculations in progress for this one. It's taking a while. Hits the side scale with authority there. Oh, close. 28.05.
Please welcome
Difficulty of 11.9. She did increase it, but not enormously so. All of that meaning an improvement of just over half a mark for Raffaeli. Now we go to Stiliana Nikolova. The 5th best in qualification, 27.3 was her score.
Maybe the face I can't forget, a trace of pleasure or regret. Maybe my treasure or the price I have to pay. She may be the song that summer sings, maybe the chill that autumn brings, maybe 100 different things within the measure of a day.
Stiliana Nikolova, gymnast who competed at the Olympic Games in Paris with yet another new routine this season, using the hugely well-known song She, performed by Daniel Boaventura. There seemed to be a moment where she had to really cover ground and get across the space in order to keep contact with the ribbon, to re-grasp it successfully. Some lovely patterns created, some very strong shape. Slow motion replay really accentuating it. And certainly she went for amplitude with some of her releases. And there's always the risk there that the ribbon starts to drift. But it's necessary to pack in the difficulty. Now, Sofia Raffaeli, we understand, is challenging her score. There we go, body difficulty. She doesn't need much of a change in order to go into medal or gold medal contention. She's in medal contention, but she's only a 10th and a half behind Taisiia Onofriichuk. So that will just delay us for a moment or two as Stiliana Nikolova waits for her score to come in. Three more performances to come in this ribbon final before we go to the group mixed apparatus event to conclude our coverage. It's a nice choice to have the Daniel Boaventura version of She. The entertainer from Bahia State in Brazil. As I mentioned earlier, those World Championships coming up in Rio. Hopefully a score coming up here sooner rather than later, but as I pointed out before we went to Stiliana Nikolova, the kiss and cry area, the inquiry has been submitted by Sofia Raffaeli, so that will just interrupt things a touch or two. The more time that you have in this area, the more time you have to pretend that there isn't a giant mascot sitting next to you. Which Stiliana Nikolova is doing extremely successfully so far. No change to Sofia Raffaeli's score. Now we'll move to the score for Stiliana Nikolova. Well, they've announced Alina Harnasko, but first of all, we've got to have the score for Stiliana Nikolova. A bit of confusion here in the National Gymnastics Arena. There we go. Nikolova, 28.15, so she is 500ths behind Onofriichuk. And we go now to the second of the world champions, the 2021 world champion, Alina Harnasko, who scored 28 in qualifying. Now that would not quite put her onto the podium.
C'est une histoire qui a pour lieu Paris la belle en l'an de Dieu 1482 pour les siècles à venir. Il est venu le temps des cathédrales. Le monde est entré dans un nouveau millénaire. L'homme a voulu monter vers les étoiles, écrire son histoire dans le verre ou dans la pierre. Il est foutu le temps des cathédrales. La foule des barbares est aux portes de la ville. Laissez entrer ces païens, ces vandales. La fin de ce monde est prévue pour l'an 2000. Est prévue pour l'an 2000.
Alina Harnasko completing her performance in this ribbon final. Music from Notre Dame de Paris, Le Temps de Cathédrale. A gymnast who so memorably won the World Championship title in Kitakyushu in 2021. And she won the ribbon gold medal at the Athens World Cup last year in her return to international competition. She's often done some of her very finest gymnastics with this apparatus. Has she managed to push beyond the leading score of Onofriichuk. That opening sequence, very much something that we've seen from her in the past with great success. And again, that well-executed pirouette, the split ring position. There is an expressivity to all of her gymnastics. From an artistry standpoint, one imagines this will do rather nicely. Will it have the difficulty of Onofriichuk? 27.94, so she's in 4th position, and indeed the artistry score is very good, 8.15. That is the joint highest artistry that we've seen, but the difficulty 11.8, that's the lowest of the top 4. Now we go to Daria Varfolomeev, the penultimate gymnast, the reigning Olympic champion and the reigning world champion with the ribbon. She performed the extraordinary clean sweep in 2023. In qualifying, 27.75.
Don't you know that I'm trouble? If they knew I was trouble, everywhere that I go, oh, it's a feeling down in my soul. Got a secret that nobody knows. I'm trouble. I could be the devil in disguise. Don't you see the fire in my eyes? Don't you know that I'm trouble? And if they knew I was trouble, everywhere that I go, oh, it's a feeling down in my soul. Got a secret that nobody knows. I'm trouble.
Daria Varfolomeev performing to Trouble by Jake Warren and Dana Kelson. New choice of orchestration for this season for her after using different music for the past couple of years. And it's very stylized, it's very memorable. And it, again, works well for her choreographically. Her score in qualifying was 27.75, so the execution needs to jump up for her really to contend, because that score of 27.75 would only be sufficient to be 5th at the moment, even though it was the 3rd best in the preliminary round. We still have one to go, and that's Tara Dragas. So has she managed to push the numbers up, the Olympic champion, on her return to the World Cup circuit? Taisiia Onofriichuk leads on 28.2.
Friends, inquiry has been submitted by AIN.
And another inquiry, Alina Harnasko. Another body difficulty inquiry. just as we had for Sofia Raffaeli, with no change to her score. So first and foremost, this will be scrutinised by the superior jury, and then we'll get the clarification on Daria Varfolomeev's score. And we mustn't forget that we're finishing with a silver medalist with a ribbon from the Junior European Championships in Tel Aviv a few years ago. And anyone who managed to perform well with the ribbon in Tel Aviv was doing fantastically, because naturally, to allow the ribbon to behave properly, the air conditioning had to be switched off, which was quite correct. It was June in Tel Aviv, so you can only imagine how warm the venue became. It was, I would say, the warmest I've ever been in any venue anywhere in the world. And it was virtually full in the arena as well. Massive attendance. It's pleased to be back competing. On the international stage. I wonder what it feels like when you come back in as the Olympic champion, how it changes what people expect of you, what you expect of yourself. That's where a coach is really important in helping manage that, not worsen it, but actually lighten the load for the athletes so that they can go into competitions with a clear head. Once again, no change. Alina Harnasko's score is unaltered.
Unchanged.
She has done enough to go into the lead. 28.45. Daria
Please
Varfolomeev
welcome Dragas, Italy.
by a quarter of a mark leads Taisiia Onofriichuk, and her difficulty has gone up by 2/10. She also delivered that much needed improvement to the execution score. 8.05 after 7.55 in qualifying. Tara Dragas of Italy is the last individual to perform in Baku. 7th best in qualifying, 27.15.
Solteira não, alegre, se tem birita, a gente bebe. Vira tequila de uma vez, não sabe nem o que é ex. Sai do chão e diz, só vira tio de mestre, só vira tio de mestre. Esquece tudo que é. Ai, delícia, toda arrepiada. Quando a gente chega é fogo na revoada. Todas por uma, umas pelas outras, comandando tudo as zonas da porra.
that is a piece of music that is going to be enormously well known in Brazil. Very judicious selection by Taisiia Dragas and her coaching team. It's sung by Vete Sangalo. One of the most celebrated of Brazilian musicians. That will absolutely get the crowd going if they have the chance to hear that at the World Championships. Good difficulty displayed as she works hard to get that leg bend in the side scale position, and there into the classical attitude. Very well controlled.
Succede Gabberione solo una perché mi guardi imbambonato dalla duna perché continui a masticare e non rispondi, dammene una, se me la vendi una fortuna ti darò.
And another classical selection of balletic turns here in the original fouettes. Quite a sizable amount of movement needed for stability on the base leg. But good leaps there, nice back bend, nice flick up of the back leg. Then striking just for a brief moment the attitude devant position. As I said earlier, she has some different choices of pirouettes from some of the other athletes that we've seen, particularly that real use of the attitude derrière. And she's done wonderfully to get herself a bronze medal, which looked like a massive surprise. 28.15, huge congratulations, Taisiia Dragas. A memorable performance and a memorable day at work. She's on the podium. What a great conclusion for her to this final. The bronze medal in the ribbon competition won by Taisiia Dragas of Italy on the execution tiebreak by 500ths. She had a higher execution score than Stiliana Nikolova. Taisiia Onofriichuk wins silver, and Daria Varfolomeev on her return to World Cup competition makes it 2 gold medals on this day.